If I give you a second hand here, same thing?
Yes.
There we go. It's those nuances that I think massage actually has, for better or worse, a sort of culture. And you have to kind of break it. Like when I was a kid in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, there was a culture where heavy metal music and rap and hip hop were two totally different things. Mm-hmm. And then at some point they kind of met and merged in a way where people were like, metal fans were like, I don't like this. There we go. Saw that pressure was good?
Yes.
All right. So I started with something smaller. I'm going to come in with my foot. I just wanted to see if the pressure was going to be too much initially. When your ankle bends right there, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. And if I hook right
That's really tender there.
there, and if I slide down
Are you slide up this time? Let's see.
a little more up.
Yes.
Okay. So let me change foot and see if I can do it slightly different. Right there.
Yes.
There we go. I talk about food and music a lot when it comes to culture. I think because I grew up in Louisiana, where it's such a mishmash, like it's where jazz music is from. I think the same thing happens with massage and bodywork. Like, I'm a white guy living now in Texas who grew up in Louisiana. I'm teaching Thai massage. And people are like, this isn't Thai. And I'm like, do I look Thai to you? Like, what do you want from me?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I make Chinese food, is it Chinese? It's like, it's one of these weird things where I'm like, shit, how do you use effective tools? Like, you know, and I'm working towards rebranding because I have changed things a lot, but it's just these weird kind of interesting, you know, conversations. A little more up. There we go. And then as a former philosophy student, I start going, well, what is Thai massage? And then everybody gets angry. And in fact, he goes even further. I'm like, well, what is massage? Because it's like, well, it's what the state legally defines it as. And I'm like, oh, manipulate soft tissue? Mm-hmm. That's what it says. I'm like, well, let's go work at Stretch Lab and Stretch Zone. No license necessary. And they're like, oh, but that's not the same service. I'm like, I don't think you understand what the law says. Now, when I back off, slow. A little higher. Yeah, right there. There we go. And that little bit of step on is just to test your edges. Also, sometimes like I have to find my balance because I can come in more slowly. A little bit higher, right there. Still not too much on the ankle, the foot?
No.
Okay, right there, and then still up.
Down.
Down now.
Although that's where it's getting tender.
Right there?
Yes.
There we go.
It's a little section in there that's
Yeah.
extremely tender.
Like I think as an American, because I grew up in such a cultural mishmash, music-wise, food-wise, I was in chronic pain. I was just getting me out of chronic pain. Like, in other words, if I had stayed in chronic pain, I was going to wind up being a junkie. Mm-hmm. Like, the opiates would have shown up eventually.
Yeah.
Just because I need help, and the doctors were like, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with you. And I'm like, what? Like, dude, I'm dying.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we took an x-ray, there's nothing wrong. And it's like, I didn't know about soft tissue stuff, really. You know, in other words, I grew up in the wonderful public educational system in Louisiana. And the amazing healthcare system in Louisiana. So I took whatever I could find, which included Thai massage and yoga, and I kept working at it. And what I've been telling people recently is what I did was what helped people out of pain in the quickest way possible. That was one line. Just do that. Then I said, okay, now what eases my body strain and makes it the easiest for me to do it in addition? That was another line. When those two lines crossed, I was like, go do that. And that's all I've done for 17 years. And eventually people are like, but that's not Thai. And I'm like, what? Like, because for me, I would look at it and go, okay, listen, Congo Square was the only place where slaves could play their traditional rhythms. But when you took all the slaves and they're playing rhythms from different parts of Africa or the Caribbean, and they hit European instruments and music, that's what gave birth to jazz. Because now it's a confusion, so to speak, of all these different rhythms that didn't have a cultural context. We created a new context. Can you do that with massage and bodywork? I think so. People are arguing against it and keep talking about tradition. And I'm like, you mean the traditional blues? The traditional rock and roll?
Right.
Like even bluegrass. Bluegrass is the most twangy white people music in the world. The banjo basically comes from an African instrument. And that's America. Like, do you like wine at all?
Yes.
You're like, I'm a mom, Robert. Of course I like wine. I watched Sommelier, and then another documentary called Somm, Into the Wine, where they go into these wine country in Europe. And then eventually they interview, if I'm a little higher, right there. There we go. Now down?
Yeah.
Or up?
Down.
Down, okay. So it feels like if I just worked on your calf, like your gastrocs, I don't think that's the issue. You're a little bit more like me. You're having issues further down. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right there?
Yes.
So in Somm, Into the Wine, I think it was, they go into the United States and they're talking to this wine producer in California. And he's like, well, yeah, we know the Italians make wine this way, and we know the French make wine this way. He's like, I'm not trying to make French wine or Italian wine. I'm trying to make American wine. And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. It's not, like, to a point, I mean, you want to honor your influences,
Right.
but as an artist, you have to go your own way.
Right.
Yeah. And then when you break the mold, like somebody gets irritated. I talk about NWA all the time, because NWA, when I was in the 80s, during the Just Say No era, in school, it was like NWA hit like a bomb. And it was like gangster rap. Woo! You know, everybody was, some people loved it or hated it. There wasn't a whole lot in between. It's a little bit like that, but they felt permission to just change it, go somewhere else, do their own voice, their own art. Still down?
Yes.
What if I go a little bit back?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, I'm going to slide a little bit more. Right there?
Yes.
Or more than that?
No, that's good.
Okay. Past a certain point, I don't think the cultural parts are beneficial. I feel like they're an impediment in some way.
And restrictive, right? Put you in a box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Limits you.
So, like, okay, I didn't grow up in the land of tacos. Now, if you come to me and you try to take away my tacos, we're going to fight.
Right.
It's one of those things about I think it's just culture, but I think massage does have a culture in a weird way in the United States. They don't often look at it that way, but I do think that's the case. Yeah. If you see massage videos from other parts of the world, Russia, Southeast Asia, China, different vibe, different feel, you know. People think of massage in the United States in a very specific way, and I think primarily it's Swedish, spa.
Right.
And if you put anything outside of that, they're like, I don't know, this isn't really massage. Like, is what I'm doing right now massage?
Not what we would typically consider massage.
Yeah. You dying there?
It's actually really good.
It's really good. Oh no, that's what I get paid to do. Make legs really good.
Really good.
There you go. And just soften up the foot a little bit. We'll probably move on to something else in a bit. So yoga. Yoga was from India. It was like a yoga class was $10. I did yoga. It helped me. Made me feel better. Reduced my anxiety. The breathing. The mobilization, stretching, whatever. It was kind of like physical therapy I could do to myself. Loved it. I had no leanings towards it spiritually, culturally. Like, I don't care. It's like, it's me moving and breathing. That's good. Let's do it. It makes me feel better. And then now they're having arguments about cultural appropriation. They're, you know, taking this piece of, and I'm like, it works. Listen, I didn't create my language. It was stolen, okay? I didn't create my tacos. They were stolen. Right there. And if I just slide a little bit, there we go.